This chapter includes 4 separate types of scale studies: mid-range chromatics, 2 octave chromatics, mid-range major scales, and 2 octave major scales. Now, the purpose of these exercises are not to teach you your scales. I assume you already know them, and there are other places you can work on that. The thing that makes these useful is the approach, and I'll briefly speak to that here. These are all designed to expand our range with ease, as well as encourage a sense of flow, clarity, and cleanliness as we move from note to note, both slowly and quickly. Firstly, the mid-range chromatics. Each of these start with a descending diatonic scale from a fifth above the starting pitch of the chromatic scale. This is to practice the habit of approaching just about everything as an extension of the middle register. If you're confident of your ability to start in the lower register with a middle setting, feel free to skip this and try starting at the downbeat of measure 2, but be sure you set your embouchure as if you're about to play a fifth higher. As you work to make these smooth and clean, be sure that you're pressing your fingers down very hard. It sounds counterintuitive, but although our finger movement is mechanical, in no way should this lead to a mechanical approach to trumpet playing. And don't forget, lead with your air. The 2 octave chromatic scales help us expand our range, getting up easily higher and higher on the horn, hanging out up there for a bit, and then descending 2 octaves and finally back to where we started. But again, all in our middle setting. Be sure you're moving your fingers deliberately and playing very clear and evenly subdivided sextuplets. The mid-range scale studies are simple and purposefully so. The aim is not to worry about the fingerings and focus on the approach, refining your technique and efficiency. At the beginning of each scale, you will notice a very, 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 very soft breath attack note. I want you to think of these as just barely tasting the note. Very little air, very small, focused, and responsive aperture. And these are to act as a reminder of how easy it is to make that note speak. The repeat sign indicates to do this a few times, and it's up to you how many, but I usually do at least 4. When moving on to the scale component of the exercise at the written dynamics, use your muscle memory to remember how easy it was when you did the breath attack, and thus how easy it can and should be when you approach the high point of the scale. Like the mid-range major scale exercises, the 2 octave major scales also start with a breath attack, and their importance here is even greater. Prioritize playing softly over consistency or quality of sound. When moving into the scale component, really play the dynamics. Start very soft, and in a middle setting, of course, in the lower register, and that'll help the ascent work easily, as the aperture used to play soft in the low register is nearly the same as the aperture used when we play high.